The Boca Chica National Wildlife Refuge is home to many vulnerable species. The critically endangered Kemp's Ridley turtles, the ocelot, a wildcat with a population of less than 60 nationwide, and hundreds of thousands of birds rely on the habitat surrounding SpaceX.
This is not the right place to do that. Not against rocketry, technology, SpaceX, the genius of what Musk can bring to us and the power and the money, but I don't feel this is the right place, and I don't think how they're going about it is the right way.
So this is part of the National Wildlife Refuge.
Members of Save RGV weren't the only ones keeping watch. So was David Newstead, director of the bird program at the nonprofit Coastal Bend Bays and Estuaries program.
What's really unique about them is their foraging.
He's been studying bird populations here for the past 6 years.
They're using this whole complex. They're using this side of the road, they're using the other side of the road.
SpaceX's tests have repercussions beyond their private land.
1 kilometer altitude.
A test flight on March 30th of this year blew up in mid-air, sending debris into the refuge, taking over 3 months to clean up.
And David, have you seen any changes in bird migration patterns or nesting patterns since the expansion and the operations of SpaceX began?
We have. Where we used to have a dozen or more nests, starting last year, we only found 2, and this year there was only 1.
Under their agreement with the FAA, SpaceX has permission to close down the highway and beach for a total of 300 hours per year. Newstead and his team started keeping track of the closure times.
We weren't tracking hours in order to make any sort of point. We were trying to figure out if there was any, a pattern to it, or we could resume our work after that.
What did you find?
By our count, we ended up well over 1,000 hours.
1,000 hours?
1,000 hours.
Save RGV used Newstead's information as evidence in a letter they wrote this June to the Cameron County judge and the district attorney, alerting them to alleged breaches of SpaceX's permit.
So we sent a letter to the DA, just, hey, here's our concerns. And he replied promptly and swiftly, asking SpaceX, here's some, allegations that may or may not be serious. Can you answer these?
If SpaceX has indeed exceeded the allotted hours, the DA wrote, then there's no longer a legal authorization to obstruct Highway 4. In a letter to the DA, SpaceX said they take the matter seriously and that they are committed to working cooperatively to resolve it. In addition, they calculate their closure time at 226 hours and 9 minutes, referring to the allegations brought on by Save RGV as not accurate. Eddie Trevino Jr. is a Cameron County judge, the highest-ranking local official who signs closure orders.
This local nonprofit, Save RGV, sent a letter to the DA and to yourself expressing some of the concerns around SpaceX operations. You have not answered that letter. Why is that?
Well, the letter wasn't addressed to me. The DA sent that letter to SpaceX.
The letter that Save RGV sent originally was addressed to the DA and to you.
Right. Well, part of the issue there is I don't have law enforcement authority, number one. Number two, some of the information in that particular letter, we're not sure that it was completely accurate. One of the allegations that was made was that SpaceX has exceeded the 300 hours. That's not correct.
Judge Trevino says he's trying to be a good partner to SpaceX while following the law.
Do you keep account yourself?
We do, yes, we are.
Is that information public?
It's not public, but I can tell you that it's under 300.
In documents obtained by 60 Minutes Plus, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service communicated to the FAA that they believe SpaceX has been exceeding their assigned hours. They calculated disruption to public access in, quote, excess of 1,000 hours in 2019. Fish and Wildlife tells 60 Minutes Plus they estimate SpaceX also exceeded their closure hours in 2020 and 2021. Communications show SpaceX's operations in Boca Chica have been a major source of contention between government agencies. In one letter to the FAA's Environmental Protection Specialist, written in April of 2019, Fish and Wildlife asked for closures and testing to stop until, quote, non-compliance issues are resolved. A refuge manager's frustration on full display in an internal email to a fish and wildlife biologist. This is totally unacceptable. If we don't stop this now, we'll never be able to reel it back in. Adding, how do we stop this thing in its tracks and start over? In a letter to SpaceX's Director of Starship Operations, dated June 21, 2021, a Fish and Wildlife Complex refuge manager described unauthorized encroachments and trespass on the refuge. He attached photographs, he says, show SpaceX's employees using refuge lands as a parking lot, and in another one, a drainage ditch on protected land.